It's Gorman in the morning with Fletcher and Ryder. Now, 92 KQRS.
Actually, there's parts of my life I'm very refined, very dignified, very protocol savvy.
Yeah,
Things
same.
like body odors and smells and weird taking out the trash.
Sure.
I'm a caveman. I grew up in a house. Now, my parents ran a tight ship, make no mistake about it. The place was always clean, but right before it was clean, it was a horror show, if that makes sense. I mean, just 6 boys in a house. It's like you can't get away from smells. You can't get away from really, really gross things in the hamper. Anyway, my point is, thank you for your concern.
It was the first thing I thought of. For real, I'm like, I can't bring these into the studio and eat them. You know what, though, really quick, with having that many brothers, how many times, I mean, farts happen, but how many times were you farted on purposely? Like, too many to count?
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, before I knew what numbers were, the number it had reached infinity. In fact, listen. Here, if you want to know how many times I was farted on with 5 older brothers, this is a game we used to play. It was called Block That Kick. And here's how the game worked.
Oh, my God.
You would take a football, and you would walk up to someone from behind and scream, "Block that kick," and punt it into their body with everything you had. That was a normal, just any time. Hey, block that kick. No,
in the house?
Anywhere. Oh yeah. In the house with a Nerf football, in the yard with a real football.
Okay.
But I've had footballs punted into my midsection countless times. So yeah, being farted on, when there's that many brothers, one holds you down, the other farts right on you. That's just life, man.
I don't know that there's anything like taking a football to the taint, though.
No, nothing.
That's
other than a soccer ball.
Soccer ball, yeah.
That was my experience.
very similar.
I never played football. I did play soccer, and
hockey puck to the taint.
Standing in the wall on soccer, like a little defense. I was a sweeper, so I was always back there, right in the middle of the wall. Took a few to the stones over the years. But it's an interesting point you make. The food protocol, the stinky food protocol. I don't think about it so much in a work environment because I just haven't had those experiences. But I do know this: I've gotten on many an airplane where somebody decides, I'm just going to bring some food on my flight. And sometimes it's a Blimpie sub from the airport, Blimpie. And if you know anything about Blimpie, you know that they coat those things with onions.
I think the bread's made out of onions.
Oh, my God. It's an astonishing breach of everything I expect from a civilized society when someone brings one of those onto a plane.
So how about hit us up with worst work food situation that you've ever encountered, 651-989-ROCK. Like, for example, we had somebody at my previous place that reheated fish in the microwave, and that's
not true. That's not possible.
Dead serious, dude. I'm not going to name names, but dead serious. And here's the worst part: the ventilation above the kitchen went to our studio directly. The studio I worked in. It
seems like an engineering misfire.
Or intentional. You know how engineers are, and didn't hit the sorry. It didn't hit the Salesforce, but it came directly into the studio, and it was awful.
What do you know? What kind of fish this was? Was it like
fish sticks?
No. It would be It would be a breast of some, not breast, but you know what I mean. It would be a fillet of some sort.
Fillet of some sort.
Can you tell I don't eat fish?
It's starting to become apparent.
The smell I couldn't tell you if it was salmon or tilapia or whatever. It would I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I do know that the fridge here. I haven't spent a lot of time near the refrigerator in this building just because I just, it's too early and I don't really eat in the mornings anyway. But I've had a few moments where I walk by and I'm like, oof, come on, what's happening in here?
Buzz,
as I said, I don't have the typical workplace experience with food and stuff, but I spent years on a tour bus, which is a workplace ultimately.
Absolutely.
It's an unusual
Closer
one.
Quarters.
But no, you're with people living on that bad boy, and there is a refrigerator, and there is a toaster, and there's a microwave, and there's whatever anyone wants to bring on there. There are some horrific smells, but the added bonus is also sweaty tube socks and also just general sweat. That's a pretty. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, oh God, I've had some serious workplace food reheating protocol disruption. 651-989-ROCK. Let us know your most disgusting workplace food protocol breach. Lori from Burnsville is on the horn. Lori, good morning.
Good morning.
What's happening over there?
Well, I just wanted to tell you guys about the worst thing that ever happened in my office.
All right.
I worked at the old Midtown Global building, the old Sears building.
Okay.
We were up on the 4th floor. Girl goes into the break room and starts her popcorn on fire.
Okay, yeah, that happens.
All the smoke detectors are going off. All the alarms are going off. She's begging us not to tell anybody it's her.
Mm-hmm.
Smoke is so bad you can hardly see. All of a sudden, here comes these firefighters carrying axes and hoses going through our office. It was hilarious. It was winter, and we had to evacuate and stand outside. Couldn't grab coats, anything. And all of that for a popcorn that went on fire in the microwave. We had a memo the next day. Absolutely no popcorn being allowed in the building.
Yeah.
They took popcorn out of the vending machine. We never had popcorn there again.
Why do they got to take it out on the pre-popped popcorn? What did that ever do? That's not fair.
What about did she face any blowback? I mean, she wasn't fired or anything. Was she reprimanded in any way?
I don't know that everybody found out it was her. There were a handful of us that knew.
Wow.
But, they took the microwave out. You should have seen the firefighter carrying the microwave out. It was hilarious.
I imagine the smell lasted a while, but one thing we've learned about Lori, she's no rat. Good employee, good co-employee Lori. She didn't rat out the microwave. Thanks for the call, Lori. We appreciate it. In case you're wondering, I do know that what a yellow jacket wasps, if you burn them on a very bright light bulb, it smells just like burnt popcorn. That's a story for another day, but trust me, don't assume it's burnt popcorn. You may have a wasp nest in your house.
That sounds like a story of a guy with 5 brothers.
651-989-ROCK. Doug is on the line right now with a story. Doug, what do you got for us, brother?
Hey, what I got? All right, so I was working with a parts company in St. Paul that's no longer with us, but we're doing inventory.
R.I.P.
It's really early, and the dude is reheating haggis in the microwave.
Haggis?
Good Lord.
You know what haggis is?
Yeah, it's a bunch of crap shoved into a sheep's bladder that they like in Scotland. Who would be walking around with haggis?
Yeah, meat and barley shoved into a sheep's stomach.
Ugh.
That's a
Uh-huh.
fireable offense, if you ask me. For real.
OMG. I can't even describe the smell. It is like none other. It almost, There's nothing in the world.
That's like people that eat haggis. It's like I used to go. I was on my way to a party, and if it was bring your own, I'd buy Milwaukee's best beer. Just that way, I knew nobody would steal it.
That's a pro drinking tip.
See?
I like that.
That's like get the worst thing you can. If you're bringing haggis to work, you're going to get every last bite. Thanks for the call, Doug. I can't believe we just got a haggis story.
I know.
Holy crap! I've had one bite of haggis in my life. True story. And I put it down and I chased it with a whole lot of Scottish ale just so I could say I did it. Never again, man. That was pretty rough.
Yeah, that's brutal. No interest whatsoever.
Come, dude. It's a classic dish. Like, shut up, dude. Groundskeeper Willie, keep it to yourself. I can't be dealing with no haggis. 651-989-ROCK. If you want to hit us up, a lot of texts have come in with some workplace food protocol disasters. How about this? Not only fish. Someone wrote, Ernie heated up lutefisk. Heated up. Passenger next to me cracked open a can of tuna fish on a Greyhound bus and ate with his fingers.
Ugh.
Oh, come on.
Well, the key word there is Greyhound bus. No rules.
That's true.
That's the joy. As a guy who spent a lot of years riding Greyhounds around when I was in college and beyond, there's the things that happen on Greyhound bus. You know, the what stays in Vegas happens, whatever that is, the Vegas slogan.
Yeah.
That's really the Greyhound slogan. What happens on a Greyhound stays on a Greyhound.
That, and I believe Greyhound directly translates into no rules.
Oh,
Pretty sure that's
true.
the direct translation.
Yeah, the reason the cocktail Greyhound is called the Greyhound is because you get enough of those and then you're like, you can handle a ride on a Greyhound. You need a lot of gin and a lot of grapefruit juice. That's another pro traveling tip.
It's Gorman in the morning with Fletcher and Ryder, 92 KQRS.
Here's a question for you. This is a debate that has been going on for a while and now it's flared back up online. Here it is. Very simple. 1 gorilla or 100 human men? Who's winning that fight? 100 men versus 1 gorilla. And this has been going back and forth online for a while now. Every few months it flares up again. And now it's just time to really dig into this, I think.
Yeah, there was an article in Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
Like, this thing's going
Rolling
crazy.
Stone covered this?
Yes.
Wow. I didn't see that.
651-989-ROCK is can 100 men take down 1 large
Silverback.
gorilla.
Okay, so question.
Yes.
Do we get to pick the 100 men? Are they like all Andrew Van Ginkel, or is it just a random selection of 100 dudes? Like random, all ages, shapes, and
I
sizes?
think the only way to make this make sense is it has to be random. It's just a lottery. You said, are they wearing clothes?
Yeah.
Are the men wearing clothes?
Yes.
Because obviously that, gives the gorilla something
Shoes-
to hold on to?
Shoes and belts might
Okay.
be useful if
Oh,
you're
I
trying
see.
to take down a gorilla. I
How
know-
would a shoe be useful against a 500-pound, 6-foot-tall creature?
I don't. You got it's some sort of tool.
Depends on the heel.
Shoelaces.
Shove it down its throat. I don't, just get in there and, sacrifice one of your two arms, but get a shoe lodged in his throat, and then
Yeah.
he loses the ability to breathe. I don't know.
Yeah.
There are so many variables on the men. Are they all on death row and have nothing to live for, and this is their only chance at freedom or something like that, or are they randomly picked? Different size, different physical abilities, all of that.
The only way it makes sense is it's got to be random selection.
But the only way, to me, I think that the humans have a chance is that they have to all work together. It's just basically like a dog pile on gorilla, and they all just at once.
That's why it doesn't
Otherwise,
work. You never get 100 strangers to work together. You have to, or it's this. You have to look at. There's going to be that thing where it's like the scene in Dazed and Confused. Like my drill sergeant said in Vietnam, half you boys ain't coming back. You're just going to have to look at the room and go, all right, you 27 guys, make your final phone calls. You're going in first, and you're probably not going to get out of this room. Then you're going to wear them down. You got to go like ants. You know what I mean? We got to be ants here.
Is 27 are not making it out, but the men will win in the end?
I think so. I think 27 is a good number. I think that
27.
They're going to be. They might not be killed, but they're going to have broken bones. They're going to be taken out of the fight very quickly.
Sure.
If that gorilla grabs your arm and just pulls really hard, your arm's out of socket. You're not doing anything. How about this? On an article in Bro Bible, one of the writers goes, well, a gorilla's bite force is estimated to be 1,300 psi, pounds per square inch, way stronger than by almost 10 times the strength of a human bite. And a force of 1,000 psi can break through human bones, and this guy's got 1,300. So if he's getting his teeth involved, that's a whole nother game changer. And he will. He's a gorilla.
How many humans can you eat at once? I mean, theoretically, while he's chewing on one, the other, 10, 15 others are, on his back.
Let me tell you something. When I watch a gorilla bite through my friend's femur, I'm backing away. I don't care what the situation is. I'm just telling you, it's the ripple effects of the fear and the confusion. Fair. And this guy's like, the gorilla ain't thinking. He's just dancing. That's all he's doing.
Somebody can Kill Bill style snatch out the gorilla's eyeball.
Oh, okay. That's gonna help you.
Yeah.
That's definitely gonna help you.
I think you just pin the dude down. Like, get 10, 15, pin the guy down.
Yeah. Those first few though.
Fletcher, are you sacrificing those 10 to 15? Is that your number?
Are you one of the 10 to 15? Are you the guy who jumps on the grenade? That's the question.
I'm actually not in this fight. I'm up in the in one of the skyboxes, enjoying a nice buffet that was provided by the host of the event.
Of gorilla meat?
Probably not. No. I'd probably stick vegetarian that day.
Okay.
So, by the way, the Rolling Stone article, the thing that's so great about it is they really go in deep with some people that understand gorilla anatomy and physiology.
Yeah.
The idea that this is a conversation that has been going on for this long. This is why I love being up early in the morning, because I will literally sit. I tell you what, we're going to finish the show in a few hours. We're going to have a great day. Hell, Frank Caliendo's coming in studio today.
That's so cool.
I mean, it's going to be great. We're talking hockey. Jesse's going to be with us to talk about the Wild right now. And at some point this afternoon, when I'm deeply immersed in some other train of thought, I'm going to go, I know how that gorilla could win. It's going to stay. It's going to stick in my brain.
Make sure you text us on Slack when you come to that conclusion.
Oh,
okay?
absolutely.
So we have that recorded.
651-989-ROCK is the place to get in touch with us if you have a thought on this or really on anything. 100 men or one silverback gorilla? That's one of the questions we're trying to answer today. On the text line, this one just came in. If 100 men attacked a silverback gorilla, the silverback would only have to snap one in half before the other 99 run away. That's kind of the point we're making, which is you don't get to pick these guys. You don't go get a bunch of UFC fighters. It's just 100 men at random walking in there.
But sure, but they're also confined, right? Like we're in a gladiator's dome, so to speak, right?
I guess. Yeah, it does.
You can't really run away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't feel like we're on something the size of a football field. We're not at US
fight
Bank
to the
Stadium.
Death. This isn't hide and seek. This is fight to the death.
Yeah, I do think. With that being the case, then I'm gonna clearly come down on the side of 100 men, but it's gonna be ugly. It's gonna take a while.
Yeah, it's gonna take a long while.
Does the gorilla just get tired? Because
has to.
Every Tarantino movie that I watch, like killing people looks like it takes a lot out of you.
It does. You know what? It really does. That's a good point.
Yeah.
And 100 of them. I mean, forget it.
100%.
Ray texted in. You just have to send 10 really big dudes, bag them up, and drop them on it. Full-blown aerial assault. Okay, I mean, yeah, see, but then he also offers this. As for the perfect murder, just the middle of shark-infested waters. Okay, but how do you get there?
Yes.
Do you have a helicopter?
Yeah.
And that's the thing with...
Do you have a dinghy? One of those Jacques Cousteau cool blow-up dinghy things?
That's the thinger with the hog farm, too, is getting there.
Yeah.
You got to get there.
Sure.
There's lots of ways to screw up on your way to it.
That's very true.
You know?
92 KQRS.
Cedar Rapids, Iowa Public Library has partnered up with a brewer down there, a brewing company. They've got a new beer they're calling Library Lager.
Yes.
The new drink, they're trying to raise awareness about the Cedar Rapids Public Library Foundation. The guy at the brewery is like, hey, man, this library holds a special place in my heart. We're creating this beer to raise awareness for the fact that we're here. It's a great public service. Only problem I have is they're not serving beer at the library.
Get the kegerator in the library.
Yeah.
Yes.
You want me to come in and search through the microfiche for headlines from the 70s like we used to? Give me a beer and I'll do it.
Oh, yeah.
You're looking at me like, microfiche? What the hell are you talking about?
I'm well aware of microfiche. I just can't believe you referenced it just now. You're such a Luddite.
It just came out. Of the blue right there.
That was beautiful.
You want me in a public library? As Ryder said, show up with a kegerator. Let's make it happen.
Here's what you do: you put it into the bookshelf, build it right into the bookshelf, and then make it look like it's fronted, like have a fake front of books. And just have a keg
like
spout.
A secret.
Yeah.
So secret door.
Or that. I was thinking that the keg spits out of the side of the bookshelf. And then you have a front of books to cover the keg.
Like you pull
and you just walk up and pull.
The secret book off of the shelf, and then the beer just pours out because the tap is hidden.
That's genius.
Cedar Rapids, you missed an opportunity.
They certainly did.
Gorman in the morning. Coming right back. 92 KQRS. Streaming from 92KQRS.com. Gorman in the morning is back. 92 KQRS.
Every now and again, people do hit it rich, whether lucky Powerball or just their job turns out to go a certain way. Aaron Paul, the actor, had that happen when he was cast as Jesse Pinkman in Breaking Bad. Obviously, that led to a nice run with that show and things since, and he's done very well for himself. And recently, he was on Hot Ones, the YouTube show where you eat chicken wings that progressively get hotter and hotter and hotter.
Great
and
show.
It's basically a torture chamber while being interviewed. And it really is a great watch. I got to this thing way late. I mean, just in the last few years, it hit my radar. And then I went back and started watching episodes. It's fantastic.
I agree. Sean Evans does a really good job of hosting and interviewing.
He's fantastic. Yeah. Aaron Paul, while on the show, discussed the fact. He was actually asked, and he was surprised that host Sean Evans got this intel because he does research his guests very thoroughly.
He's got a team, yeah.
And he said, "So hey, man, what's up with these living room concerts?" And Aaron Paul's like, "Oh my God, how'd you hear about that?" Here's the thing, as you'll hear momentarily, Aaron Paul, he's got this weird thing where he'll spend his money on having his favorite bands come and play in his living room. Kinda awesome.
We've been doing these shows for north of a decade. But the last one, actually one of my favorite bands, Cigarettes After Sex. No one has phones or cameras. Everyone's just in the moment. And honestly, like 90% of the time, people say, yeah, I'm down.
I'm not surprised to hear that. If you're a touring musician, if you're a musician on any level, and a guy from a show like Breaking Bad's like, hey, man, you want to come play my living room? I'm sure it's a well-paid gig. It's no pressure. It's just cool. You get to vibe out with he and his friends.
Yes.
Hell yeah, I would do that.
You don't have to do any promotion.
No.
You're not nervous if people are going to show up or not. I feel like Aaron Paul didn't go to enough basement shows, before he became big.
Right.
That's where you put the bands, just better acoustics.
Yeah, that's very true. Mm-hmm. That's very true. Cigarettes After Sex. This is not a small band.
No,
I mean,
they're not.
They've got a couple of the old anthems out there. Everybody knows, whether you know it or not. And I just looked at their Instagram. It's 5 million followers. They're doing okay for themselves. And they set up and jam in someone's. I like that he says, I've been doing this north of 10 years. So this is dozens of times. People just show up. Now, I have friends, I have musicians who play house parties. Like they just stick, hey man, they're on tour and they're looking for a gig to connect two cities in between. And a fan will say, come play my house party. Yeah. I've never played one. I've never been to one, but I think it's a great idea.
I've had one. I've actually hosted one in my living room.
Was it a band or a singer-songwriter?
Singer-songwriter. Matt Hires out of Nashville.
Okay.
He's become a really good friend over the years of what I do for a living. And it was awesome. It was intimate. You had, I think we had probably 20, 25 people. But it was all people we knew. And so everybody was super comfortable. People brought food. People brought drinks.
Was everybody already familiar with his music?
Not everybody.
Okay.
I would say it was maybe 50-50 or even 75-25 in favor of not familiar.
Okay.
But everybody enjoyed it. It's like, he'll take requests. You sit there and
it's a great way to get to know somebody's music. Nice intimate house party like that.
Yeah.
So his name, he was from Nashville. What was his name?
Matt Hires. He's originally from Tampa Bay.
Did he think it was weird when everybody showed up potluck style with like tater tot hot dish? Is he like, why are they just bringing food?
Well, twofold. First of all, there was sadly no tater tot hot dish. It was all hors d'oeuvres and whatnot. But also, Matt does house party tours. And so he'll go out and he'll just put out on his socials, hey, I'm coming through these towns, or I'm looking to come through these towns. Does anybody want to host? And so he'll go looking for it. And so, no, I think he's probably experienced just about everything.
This reminds me of Jeff Spicoli, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, when if you remember at the end of the movie, he saved Brooke Shields from drowning, blew the reward money hiring Van Halen to play his birthday party.
Yeah,
that's right where my mind goes with this. 651-989 Rock. I want to hear. Would you have had a house party? Would you have, and if so, who would you hire? Like if you could bring anybody in. I remember years and years ago. Sheryl Crow when her first record came up, we did some dates on this tour called the Horde Tour with her.
Yeah.
And I've known her ever since, and she's awesome.
Yeah.
And this was in '99 or maybe 2000, and I bumped into her and her manager Scooter, a great guy, in New York City. Just one of those nights. It was like early December, and I was like, "Hey, what's going on? Hey, good to see you." Blah blah blah. And he mentioned to me, "Oh, we got some gigs in town, Christmas week, in fact." And I go, "Oh, really? Where are you playing?" He goes, "Oh, there's just some privates." And I was like, "What?" I at the time I was dumbfounded. I was like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "We're playing like just some private parties." And I was like, Cheryl's playing private parties, and one of them was like in the Dakota building, and I was like, "Oh, okay, you're financing your next 5 years." Oh, okay, got it. Yeah, right. Yeah. I was like, "Wow, you're playing." And if I'm not mistaken, I don't want to speak out of school. One of them was a Christmas Eve soiree. And I was like, "You're doing that on Christmas Eve? Man, I need to meet some of your friends."
The dollars go up if it's Christmas Eve,
Boy,
right?
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Who would you hire? Who would you hire to play your Christmas Eve or any other house party? Aaron Paul, we heard about an interview on Hot Ones. Aaron Paul, who played Jesse Pinkman on Breaking Bad, for over 10 years has been hosting like musicians, his favorite bands and artists play gigs in his living room. And it's been like a kind of a hush-hush thing. But the dude from Hot Ones found out about it, so they were discussing it. And he said, yeah, for over 10 years now. And he just had the band Cigarettes After Sex there. So he's going after some big hitters. It's not just
Why wouldn't you?
It's not he didn't walk into a coffee shop and see a guy go, "Hey, your songs are kind of good. Come play my house." He's going after established artists. And I'm curious who you would get if you had the choice. I like John on the text line 651-989 Rock wrote, "Okay, well, anybody dead? John Martin, Martyn, in case you're wondering. That's a hell of a choice. Alive, the Blue Stones." I'm just going to say I don't know who the Blue Stones are. But I love the idea that John wants them in his house.
Should I know who John Martin is? With a Y?
We'll talk afterwards.
Okay, all right.
We're not going to play him on this show.
Okay.
Our buddy Bob the Hummus guy said 4th of July I'll have the Foo Fighters with Steve Gorman on sticks warming up for the Red Hot Chili Peppers, or warm-up band Red Hot Chili Peppers. Sounds great, never going to happen. And I'll tell you why. Foo Fighters could say, "Do you want to join the band?" And my answer would be, "God, no. I don't have that kind of energy. I'd have to have a boxing regimen for 6 months to be able to play that show." That Foo Fighters drummer, it's an endurance test. It's just it's an athletic feat.
Right?
As much as it's music, it's more just jump in that hamster wheel and run as fast as you can for 2.5 hours.
I don't know if Bob's thought about the logistics of this. It's incredible instrument. It's a lot of gear that you got to fit in your living room.
That's very true.
Man, I'm looking for like real answers that'll actually work.
Well, Ryder, I'm gonna put it in your lap then. Who you got?
Okay.
Okay.
So based on what happened during a party at the movie Weird, the Al Yankovic story,
Okay.
I want Weird Al to play my house party, and I want it to be just like when he walked in there and everybody had accordions.
Wow.
And so it's Weird Al just headlining with a bunch of semi-amateur accordion players.
I have a hard time believing that given the choice of anything, that's where you're going.
I don't want my house messed up. Like, I've been to a lot of basement parties.
Sure,
And I've seen
sure.
beer everywhere and every bodily fluid everywhere and dudes naked and people running around.
Yeah.
Vomit probably.
That's a bodily fluid.
No one-
Fair enough.
No one needs this. You've done enough.
I did my time.
You have done your time. Make
Those
no mistake
trashy
about it.
houses in Como.
We got a
that's
text from the
fantastic.
216 area code. Maybe we could pool our money together because this person said I'd have Pearl Jam be my band at a house party. Maybe the two of us can pool our money together and do the acoustic thing. That'd be good.
Just figure out the right way to. It's got to be a fundraiser for something. Get Eddie's
There you
attention
go.
with the right cause. You know what I mean?
That's a good way to get his attention. You're right.
They'll
You're
make it happen.
absolutely Right.
That's a simple one.
Yeah.
Hey,
It's a simple one. No problem.
check this out.
Steve, who's playing your house party?
Yeah.
Oh no,
Or you and Rosemary passing on this whole thing?
no, not a chance. I don't want anybody. No, get out of my house.
Come
no,
on.
no musicians welcome.
Play the game.
You know who I'd love, honestly?
Yeah.
I'll, and I'm not pandering to the local vibe here. Give me Paul Westerberg and an acoustic guitar, and I'll sit and listen to that dude for hours.
I mean, the number of people I met who would give their left testicle to
Yeah.
have been at a Replacement's house party back in the day.
Yeah,
Dude.
yeah, and
So crazy.
Those would have been testicles well spent.
92 KQRS.
High school days, man. We all had similar experiences. I mean, at the time, it felt like we were all living wildly different lives,
Right.
probably. But you look back on your high school days, and it's like, oh, I did that. Yeah, I did that. I did. There's the checklist of things
Yeah.
we all did. Basic stuff like you had a huge crush on somebody. You had your first girlfriend or boyfriend.
Yep.
You took a standardized test to get into college. Whatever. We all have these experiences we look back on, and say we all shared. But there's like a list that says like the top 10 things we all did, and it's basic stuff like that. But I'm curious, about the things we actually didn't do. When you look back, you're like, I totally missed the boat on that one. Okay, so had a boyfriend or girlfriend. 64% of people said, oh yeah, I absolutely had a big steady girlfriend or boyfriend in high school. But only 36% of people say they had sex while in high school.
Both of those numbers seem low to me.
I saw Fast Times at Ridgemont High the summer before my senior year and went into my senior year going, I'm way behind the curve. I was like, man, my high school experience sucks so far. Those kids are having fun because, yes, a movie could still stamp my soft, mushy brain and make me think I was missing out on things. I had to step up my game all of a sudden because of a movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes art will do that.
It was a good movie.
It was a great movie. Yeah. I had a girlfriend off and on for 10th, 11th, and 12th grade.
Wow.
Same girl. We would break up and we get back together, break up and get back together. And I have no problem admitting, never sealed the deal in high school. Did not have sex as a high school student because I was only serious with one girl. And I'll tell you why we didn't. It was my choice.
Okay.
Because I knew for a fact if that girl got pregnant, I was going to have to marry her and move on to her horse farm. There would be a shotgun in my face. I was terrified. I'm the only kid in the world who actually was so afraid that I somehow resisted the urge.
Of the father-in-law or what?
Her. She said like, oh my God, we would talk about it and she'd be like, and I would say, well, I'm literally the voice of reason. I don't know. I'm in 11th grade and you're in 10th grade. And then I'm in 12th, you're in 11th grade. And if we do this, what if you got pregnant? She'd be like, well, what would be wrong with that? And she said that. And I went, okay, this is never happening.
Nope, red
Remember
flag.
that segment we did a long time ago about red flags?
Yeah. No, I moved to Kentucky at the age of 10. And by the time I was 17, it was like 7 years of how do I get out of here? How do I get out of here? And when that was something I heard said, I was like, oh, I got to get out of here. So, that's one I missed out on. And I look back and I go, I probably would have been okay. Actually don't regret it too much. But I could have gone out with somebody else. Would have been kind of nice.
I mean, I think your life probably beats shoveling horse poop.
Yeah, that's exactly where I would have been. High school, did you have a serious boyfriend or girlfriend?
No, I did not have I dated plenty, but no, I did not have a serious one. No, nothing that lasted more than a couple weeks.
Wow, Ryder?
Good morning, Chris Campbell. I think he lives in Savage right now.
Oh, good old CC and Savage.
Yeah, dude had a six-pack and like amazing brown eyes.
And how long was this relationship?
It was like the end of freshman year until the middle of junior year.
Wow,
mostly.
pretty strong.
Wow,
Yeah.
that was a long one. That was a heartbreaker when it ended, yeah? I mean, those are...
It kind of fizzled out. Like, it was time to move on, so that was
Did you both feel that way?
I felt that way. I'm not going to speak for him. I don't know.
High school football games? You go to all the games?
Not all of them, no.
A lot of fun on Friday nights? Was that a big
I was
scene?
a pep band nerd, so I was played at some of them.
Oh, okay.
But no, I didn't go to them often just for fun. A handful.
Ryder?
I was in marching band because, spoiler alert,
Nice.
the marching band got to go on a trip to Hawaii my junior year.
Oh!
And I quit immediately after. So, yeah, I had to go to a bunch of football games because it was required because you did the thing. Also, spoiler, Chris Campbell thought I looked real cute in my marching band uniform.
Yeah, he did.
Okay,
Yeah.
quick question. How long were you a marching band geek?
So that would have been sophomore year and then, like, first semester of junior year. We went on the trip in November.
And then you quit?
When I was a college student, I, for one semester, was hanging out with a group called Campus Crusade for Christ because they had a spring break trip to Daytona Beach.
Wow.
I went down there. I got there. I was like, wait, I'm supposed to do what on the beach? I'm supposed to spread the gospel? No,
yeah,
sorry.
No, that's
I
not
just
good on
needed
the
the
beach.
free ride. Thanks. Not my proudest moment, but hey, I did have a good week.
1 second, though. I got to bond with Ryder here. I was a 4-year marching band geek. So,
Nice.
yeah, there's that.
Okay,
Smoked
lots
pot
of cool
behind
trips.
the bleachers. I don't know what to tell you.
As far as the high school football games go, obviously the for a lot of towns and a lot of schools, it's the epicenter. It's ground zero for high school culture is those Friday night games.
Yeah.
First time I ever went to a high school football game was in Seattle, Washington when I was 27 years old. My high school didn't have a football team.
Oh, what?
Okay?
Wow, just the
I had
12 of you?
Tiny school.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
played
Oh,
soccer
I
in the
suppose,
fall.
yeah.
But there were two big-ass public schools in the same town, and they played every Friday night. But because I didn't go to those schools, I really didn't have any friends that I cared to hang out with at either
Okay,
school.
yeah.
But even at my school, but everybody else would go, oh, you going to the Hoptown game, going to the county game? Let's go to the county game. And I'd be like, I don't know, man. That just seems, I felt like it was too late. I didn't grow up in that. And I kept it at a, arm's length. And I look back now, so here I am. I'm on tour in a rock band. I'm playing a gig in Seattle. I'm 27 years old. We're playing at the University of Washington, the basketball arena. And at the University of Washington's football stadium on a Friday night, they have a high school game.
Okay.
And so I just walk, I'm just like right across the street. I'm like, oh, what's going on over there? And me and my t-shirt guy, we walk across, and I watched 3/4 of high school football in a giant stadium where there's hardly anybody there, but it's like 2 sections full of fans. Sure. And as I sat there, I was like, man, I missed out. I was just watching the interaction from the cheerleaders to the fans to the kids, the stoners who weren't on the team but were still there anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, all the youth subcultures represented in the bleachers, and I was like, what the hell was I doing on Friday nights? Why did I miss this?
It was really social.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
huge.
The players taking the field, breaking through that paper that the cheerleaders created or whatever.
It was incredible.
Awesome.
And at some point I said to my guy, Kevin, I go, man, this is the first time I've ever been to a high school football game. And he treated me like I had leprosy. He was like, what? He was like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, sorry, dude, I missed out. Yeah, there's a few things we all missed out. Looking back, shoulda, probably, woulda, coulda, shouldas. 651-989-ROCK. What's the woulda, coulda, shouldas from your high school days? What'd you miss out on in high school when you look back? KQRS Facebook page. Feel free to go there and share a comment or two. Several people missed out on the prom. I got a lot of proms. Jed, Michelle, Kim, Troy. A lot of people not making that senior prom. Ryder, I've seen a picture of you at a prom, haven't I?
I think it was junior prom, and I skipped the senior one.
Okay.
I mean, they're getting to be more and more expensive.
Well,
that
makes sense.
You got to get a dress, you got to get a tux, you're getting all your group of friends together, you're going out to some fancy dinner, you're maybe getting a limo.
See, I think you guys, again, I was in a small town, but at a very small school, and so you just didn't miss things like that. Like It was it's like you could never even cut a class because everybody
knew,
where's Steve?
right?
Everybody was, and the prom was one of those things. It was like you just went regardless. I didn't take my longtime girlfriend to the prom. We broke up like a month early, and I took another girl, a family friend. And I had a great time until I got in my own head about it because I really had a crush on this girl, and then I just was thinking about it too. Started off great. I was being funny. We were laughing. We were having a great time. And as it was getting closer to the end of the night, I started being like, I don't know, I kind of really like this girl. And all of a sudden, it got really, really wonky. You said you had something for me.
It was. I didn't realize that the whole thing was going to blow up with prom. It was prom. I never went to a single prom.
Not one.
I kind of alluded to it a bit ago when I said I didn't have a serious girlfriend at any point. When you don't have a serious girlfriend, you don't really think of it. And I was, I don't want to say I was full on like a counterculture. Okay. But I just was like, everybody's doing that. I don't need to go.
Got it.
And I, like I said, I graduated with 650 whatever kids. It was anonymous. He had no clue that I wasn't there.
Yeah.
I just wasn't something me and my buddies did. We didn't care.
Yeah. No, I get it.
I wish I would have. You know what I mean? Like, at least one of them just to have the experience, but I can't say I regret it
Well,
either.
it's a lot of hype, and it's just another dance at the end of the day, but you're more uncomfortable because you're wearing a rented tux with a stupid cummerbund.
I did go to the Sadie Hawkins dance once. Not to dance, not with anybody, with a couple of buddies, because our friend's band was playing Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Right.
Yeah, they had to audition, and they played
that was the name of the band, or they played
the song. Yeah, they played the song. Yeah.
Sadie Hawkins dance was a staple.
Yeah,
and that's at least at our school, the girls asked the boys to that dance.
Yep.
And had some momentous Sadie Hawkins experiences.
Absolutely.
Yeah, got asked by an older girl one year.
What?
I was in 9th grade, and a junior asked me to the Sadie Hawkins dance.
Oh wow!
Talk about pressure. Talk about feeling the heat beforehand. Like, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
with every day, it got closer and closer, and I was just like, oh, what's going to happen here?
How are you not the king of the freshman class?
Well, I was. I'm just talking about what was happening inside.
Okay.
I was fronting. I was flexing. I was putting on a good look there.
I like it when we get this voice from Steve.
This text just came in. Skip school the day of senior pictures for the yearbook.
Yeah.
50-year reunion this July. The yearbook without your photo all those years.
That one's from Mike. Yeah, that's one that you want to be at. I mean, that's a photo you definitely. We did senior pictures on our own though. Mm-hmm. We went out. It was off campus, generally speaking. We didn't do it at the school.
Yeah, there was a lot of these things that because of the school I went to, you kind of missed out on. But like another one, did you ever have a legitimate crush on a teacher? Did you ever have the hot for teacher experience? I mean, I did, but everybody in my school did. We had a French teacher my 10th grade year, Miss Jones. Everybody was in love with her.
Sure.
Every guy wanted to be with her. Every girl wanted to be her. I mean, it was just everybody was so enamored. She was like 25, maybe 20. She was right out of grad school. And she taught French, and it was just she walked in, and it was like a. A choir of angels accompanied her everywhere she went.
For sure. No, nothing. I was thinking she was French.
Oh no!
Yeah, I was looking at something else when you said that, and it threw me off. And I was
she was the French teacher, and she, as far as I know, kind of spoke French. I don't remember learning a lot about the language. But that was another thing I missed out on because I was in the, quote, French club at school. I learned French, and I was actually pretty good at it. I had a knack. The teacher would say every year, like, if you would just apply yourself, which is what every other teacher said to me, too. Yeah. Mm-hmm. If you simply applied yourself, Mr. Gorman. Mm-hmm. But they did a trip every spring break, not to France, but up to Montreal, like to French Canada.
I mean, that's not nearly as cool as Paris.
Hey, man, these are flights from, come on, this is the early 80s.
Why not just go to the French Quarter in New Orleans? That'd have been cheaper. You've not clearly not been to the French Quarter in New Orleans. I have not.
Yeah, nobody's speaking French there.
Yeah, I was going to say they're speaking gobbledygook.
Yeah.
No, but Montreal. If you're a kid in a small town in Kentucky, Montreal is way closer to Paris than anywhere else you're going to go.
That's
the
fair.
point is you go somewhere where you only speak French for a week.
Yes.
That was the whole point.
Right.
Even though it was Quebecois French and they're, but there was my sophomore year, I was like, by God, by the time I'm a senior, I'm doing that trip. And I made this whole plan. I'm going to get a job after school. I'm going to do this. I'm going to save, because I just had to save. I figured it all out. It's going to cost me I don't remember the numbers, but I knew very easily it was within my grasp, and I did not a single one of the things on my checklist.
Oh, damn.
I spent 2 years thinking, I got to get that going. I got to start that. And then I'm a senior, and I'm just watching people like, all right, we're off to Canada tomorrow. And I was like, you dumbass.
Darn it.
The regrets we have. It's crazy.
100%, yeah.
Gorman in the morning. Coming right back. 92 KQRS. Streaming from 92KQRS.com. Gorman in the Morning is back. 92KQRS.
Talking about a guy in Alaska hiking with his wife, rock slide. He gets pinned under a 700-pound boulder.
Unreal.
And has to wait for a few hours before he's rescued. Doesn't sound like he's too much worse for the wear, but that had to be a terrifying situation for my man.
He's like giggling through the story. It's crazy.
Yeah, here's him on the experience.
We'll take that flimsy, flaccid feeling and turn it into a rock-solid experience that's guaranteed to petrify your senses.
That's what I thought about that boulder.
Yeah, man. I think about like times that I've literally like been scared to death, you know, like the scariest things that you've ever gotten through. And then, of course, you tell that story forever.
Sure.
And there's two that come to mind for me. One's really not a story. I was just in a tent and I heard a bear outside the tent.
Oof.
I never saw it, but I heard it sniffing around and pawing and making guttural sounds. It was very clearly a bear right outside the little nylon tent I was sleeping in.
How did you know it was a bear and not just another drunk rock star?
Well, in the morning, the bear prints gave it all away. Like the group of us, and the guy that was with us, like the expedition leader, was like, "Oh yeah, that's very much a bear." Everybody heard it. We all laid in our tents listening, no one breathing. Like, "Oh my God, there's a bear!" Just luckily, nobody got swiped.
The snorts kind of give it away too, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was.
It's not a dog. It's like that's big.
It was big and loud and making noise and all
It's
that.
enough to put poop in your pants.
But again, I never even saw it. I didn't dare unzip the tent and look out. I was just laying there waiting for that guy to go away.
Yeah.
But the ultimate for me, this sounds made up, and I've told this story, and people are like, "No way!" But it's entirely 1,000% true.
Okay.
1991 in Belfast, Northern Ireland. After a gig, me and my bass player and a guy from our record company were hungry, and the hotel didn't have a functioning kitchen.
That's the scariest thing I've ever heard.
Because a month before we got there, Queen Elizabeth was staying there, and the IRA bombed the hotel, and they blew out the kitchen, and they hadn't repaired it yet. So there's already that as the backdrop. Like, okay. So anyway, the guy at the front desk, it's 11:30 or so, and we're starving, and we said, "Man, does anyone have any food?" And he said, "There's a new McDonald's that just opened, and so they're open all night as a part of the first weekend of business, all night long McDonald's." We're like, "Let's go." We get a taxi. Takes us right into the city center. Again, three of us in the cab. The guy pulls up, the cabbie, and in that incredibly impossible to understand Northern Irish accent where they say the word now like "no," he says, "Yeah, go in there. I'll wait for you." We were like, "No, we'll get it." He goes, "No. It'll be harder to get a taxi because it's on this plaza and it's just packed with college kids.
Right.
It's like the party. Everyone's out. It's after midnight when we get there, and it's just a banger everyone's having a great night celebrating late night McDonald's."
Yeah.
And so we said, "We'll go in, we'll get our food to go." And the guy says, "I'll wait, I'll be right here." We go, "Great." We go in, big crowd, takes 10 or 15 minutes to get our food. We come walking back out to get into the cab to go back to the hotel. And our cabbie he's not like crying, he's weeping as we get in.
Oh, damn.
And it's like a middle-aged man.
Okay.
And we're like, "Hey man, is everything okay?" And he explains to us largely, this is a terrible night. This is still the troubles are happening in Northern Ireland.
Okay.
And it was a night where a bunch of cabbies had all been shot. Like, three Catholic cabbies and 3 Protestant cabbies were shot. Guy gets in the back seat and then takes you to his, so is a tit for tat, they call that, murders.
Yeah.
And he had just gotten the report and he had lost a good friend. And he's explaining this to us. And we're just like stunned, like, "Oh my God." And I said, "Man, we'll just get another cab." And he was like, "No, you won't. I'm taking you home." Okay, sure. So we're driving and we're going along. We get away from the city center and it's kind of a dark street, and we round the corner and we're suddenly awash in lights. The whole street has got these big floodlights, and there's a British Army group of soldiers standing there checking cars. They're looking for taxis. They're out doing whatever they're doing because of all these shootings going on that night. And the car is surrounded by soldiers with their rifles, all of us in the back seat. We have that little red laser thing on our chest.
No.
And I'm looking. I'm sitting on one window, and I'm looking at a soldier who's holding a rifle pointed right at me.
Oh my! All of my muscles are clenched right now.
It was just the cab stops, and there we are, and and I'm like can barely breathe, and the cabbie's response is blind rage at these soldiers. He's going, "What are you doing?" He's yelling, "Put down your rifles. These are Americans." He's just like, "This. What are you doing?" And the leader, like the sergeant of this guy, comes up, and he leans in the window, and I look at this like the leader of these troops, and I'm like, this guy's like my age. He's like 24. He's not old.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I look and I can see the kid holding the rifle on me. He's probably 18 years old. And that's when I really got afraid, because I was like, that kid's more scared than I am.
Yes.
Because he's probably from Sheffield or Leeds, and he's in Northern Ireland where he's expecting nothing but terrorism, which for good reason at the time. I mean, like I wouldn't say his hands were shaking, but just on the look on his face, I was like, this kid is more scared than I am. And the guy leans in and goes, "You Americans?" We're like, "Yeah." He goes, "Do you have your passports?" We're like, "No, we're going to McDonald's. They're at the hotel." And my bass player, Johnny Colt, from this time in the Black Crowes, he somehow remains calm, and he goes, "We're Americans. We're staying at the such and such hotel. We just played a show tonight. We're in a rock band." And the guy goes, "What's the name of your band?" And he says, "The Black Crowes." The guy goes, "Oh, I heard of you." Really? And Johnny goes, "Yeah, can you put your guns down, please?" And then all of a sudden, the guy gave this, and they all dropped their guns. And the cabbie the whole time is still just cussing this guy up a blue streak. Like, what is wrong with you?
And you guys are probably like, "Hey, can you calm down?"
Yeah. I'm like, this isn't helping. And then they go back and forth. Again, the accents are a little thick and they're speaking fast. And then all of a sudden we take off and the cabbie goes, "I'm really sorry, lads." And we're like, "That's okay. We know you didn't mean to do that." And we got back to the hotel and walked into the lobby, and I had my McDonald's and I had no appetite.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I'm not really thinking of it to eat anything for a while. The scariest things that ever happened to you. Alex from Coon Rapids is on the KQ Talking text line. Alex, good morning.
Good morning.
What do you got for us?
Oh, so yeah, I was a few years ago, maybe 6 years ago, I was down in Guatemala, and we're leaving from one Airbnb to another Airbnb, and driving from there. The map has us, take the standard way or whatever, and the road kind of ended, and next thing we knew, we were kind of going through a jungle, dirt road jungle, and just my wife and I, and we come across these police officers just kind of parked in the jungle, doors open, feet up on the door. So they jump out and flag us down and start telling us that we have to pay them. But we didn't know we had to pay them. We couldn't translate. We don't speak Spanish. We had to call our previous Airbnb host to have her translate to us. And, they're talking to us. I don't know what they're saying. They're kind of pointing to their guns. And, what they ended up wanting is we had to pay them for protection to go to the next town. Of course, all we had, just being the tourists we were, was hundreds. But, Guatemalan hundreds, which is like 20 U.S.
Right.
So, as I pull out a lot of hundreds to pay this guy, I'm sure I was thinking, like, great, they're going to, shake us down for more.
Yeah.
But everything was fine. I paid them, and they followed us to the next town. And then after that, I hammered her down and took off, and everything was fine. But
That's
for those,
so freaky.
it was extremely scary.
In that moment.
Tense.
Yeah.
That's tough. That's
Holy
tough. Thanks for the call, Alex. I spoke to a buddy yesterday, a good friend of mine for years, and I said, "Hey, what was that story?" I was just in the middle of this conversation. Long story short, he was in Indonesia in 2002 and got bit by a monkey.
What?
And he had not had rabies shots.
Oh, my goodness.
And he woke up the next day freezing cold, sweating like a dog. It was 110 degrees, and he's sweating nonstop, freezing cold. And the doctors where he was, they were like, "Well, we can start rabies medication, but if you're an American, I'd go back home and get that done." And he goes, "Well, how long do I have?" And they said, "When did you get bitten?" And he said, the guy's looking at his watch, and he goes, "Can you get back to California within 36 hours?
Oh, my God.
And because I would recommend doing that, but you got to get there. You got 48 hours after the bite to start, and he was able to do it, but he flew home and it turned out he got the medication. They went through it. They determined it probably wasn't rabies. It was just something else he picked up from being bitten by a monkey in the jungle.
Okay.
But anyway, that whole story, I was just thinking about the idea that you get on a plane thinking, this thing better land on time, and I better get right to the clinic.
No
that's pretty scary.
It's Gorman in the morning with Fletcher and Ryder, 92 KQRS.
Stuff that you see in the movies all the time where you go, that would never happen in real life.
Yeah.
That would never happen in real life. Just about every breakup scene I've ever watched in a movie.
Why every breakup scene?
Because they always have the conversation, and then they're all. It usually resolves itself within about 90 seconds. It's just like, and then it just fades to black, and then you move on with it. It's like, well, no, that's not how that ended. They talked a little bit longer, like 3 more hours.
Yeah.
But
you gotta transfer some stuff.
Yeah, but there's a whole lot of follow up. 651-989 Rock. What is the thing that happens though that like pulls you right out of the mood? And there's one always, and I love the Jason Bourne movies, for example. Just think they're all great. I've had one, honest to God, that I know of concussion in my life.
Okay.
And I went out for about a half a second. Total. I mean, I came back groggy. I was not going to get up and this is when I was like 20. I was a young, very athletic, healthy young guy.
Virile.
I was not about to jump up and keep fighting.
Right.
Like when you get your clock, when you get your bell rung and you see stars and you honestly go out for a full second or two, much less 5, you don't get up and keep going. I can speak from experience.
That's fair.
I always blows my mind watching and again, I love the movie, but I'm like, come on, I'm sorry. You just got punched in the face 6 times by a guy who's a trained assassin. You're not going to keep fighting back.
Not even if you're Jason Bourne or Tom Cruise or any of that stuff.
It's just not that many headshots. I don't care how tough you are. You don't build muscles on your skull.
Maybe. I mean, they're at least trained to deal with it and be able to.
Nah.
I've got one that's like super mundane, but it happens in TV shows, movies, everything. They never shut the freaking door. You'll go in, they walk in the front door and just leave it open.
Oh,
really?
What
I mean? You've never noticed that?
Oh, for sure.
Oh, my God. You just walk in and they never shut. I'm like, what about the door?
Yeah. Nobody
Drives me
screams
insane.
about, you guys want to air condition the entire outside?
Yeah.
Like my dad used to hit us up with.
Sure.
Yeah. The dad's like, I'm not paying to air condition. Yeah, air condition the outside. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Well, that does bring to mind another one. Speaking of air conditioning, the number of people climbing through the air conditioning ducts, like in the ceilings, without ever being... Somehow that's always a surefire way to get away with something.
Right.
It's like there's no room. They can't possibly hold you when you weigh 200 pounds. And then secondly, they're loud and clunky, and it just always seems to be... It always seems to work in the movies. I just don't imagine anybody could get away with that in real life.
I mean, John McClane in Die Hard, I think that one's realistic, because that HVAC probably wasn't working yet. And he was in a relatively isolated area.
It's not an open. He's on floors that aren't open yet. I'm saying
he's John McClane.
Well, that's very true.
Yeah.
I would love to watch a movie where at any time where someone's driving somewhere and for 9 minutes they have to look for a parking space. Come on!
You really want to watch
barely
that?
missed. Yeah, there's a movie with Tom Hardy where the entire film is him in the driver's seat of a car on Bluetooth, just taking phone calls. I can't.
Really?
It's his character's last name. The movie's called just like Smith, but it's not Smith. And I watched that movie on a plane, and it sounds really boring, and it's anything but.
Lock. Locke, in case you want to.
Yeah, it was like, it's a great movie on a plane. I don't know how long you'd last at home if you had options. But, if you see it on a plane. 651-989-ROCK. What happens in movies that you will not, that it just takes you right out of the mood? You never see it happen in real life. I was a little kid when I first put together on movies and TV shows that every time a character runs out of the house or the office and jumps in the car, it's obviously already started. You know what I mean? They jump in and just punch it. And I mean, I was 7 the first time I went, hey, how come they never have to find the keys and stick it in there and turn it over and then put it into... It's just ready to go every time.
Unless they're in a horror movie and the Axeman is coming to kill them.
That's exactly right.
And then they fumble for the keys and the car won't start. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I like this text that just came in about things that are unrealistic in movies. In movies and TV shows, the cars are always too clean.
Oh, they are really clean.
Yeah. You
That's true.
don't see pet hair and receipts on the floorboards.
No, the's no garbage in the back seat. You don't have an empty drink sitting in the cup holder. It's freaky.
My place for like I'll get salted peanuts or a bag of my small little bits of trash. They all go in the passenger seat. On the back side of the passenger seat, there's that little pocket.
Okay.
For the person in the back seat to put a magazine like it's the 1960s.
I can see how that would work with your wingspan.
I'm driving, I just put it back there.
Yeah.
And then about every 3 days, I just pull all the stuff, whatever's accumulated.
Yeah.
Not every 3 days, every couple of weeks, I guess. Because it's, there'll be 4 or 5 things in there.
Yeah.
I do my part to keep it, somewhat clean. But then
the dad hack was always every time you fill up the gas tank, kiddo, take all of the garbage out and leave it at the gas station.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Jumping on a moving truck off a bridge, also on the text line. That's very true.
I want to try that so bad.
Always want to try it.
Yeah.
In that action vein, one that came to my mind, endless ammunition. They never reload.
Yeah.
They just can shoot and shoot. That's one thing that the Bourne series kind of got right, because the practicality stuff of that generally was in place. And I saw The Accountant 2 lately, like a couple weeks ago, which was excellent, by the way. And they actually reloaded, which I thought was like, oh, that's refreshing. That's what made me think of it. But normally they don't. They just shoot.
There was also some reloading in a movie I watched over the weekend on Apple TV called The Gorge. And I started it, and I kept watching because it was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. It was the dumbest movie I've ever watched. It was so stupid I had to see how it ended.
Who's in this movie?
The Chess Gambit, the Queen's Gambit girl.
Oh, okay.
And the dude from the drum movie.
Miles Teller.
Thank you. Whiplash and
Top Gun. Yeah.
Whiplash and Chess.
And Anya Taylor-Joy.
It's the dumbest conceit. The whole thing about it is so... It's so dumb. And the very end, spoiler, they just rip off the first Jason Bourne movie entirely. Okay. Like, I guess they're like, it's 22 years old. No one will remember. And I'm just watching it. I was fast forwarding, granted, through some of the scenes in the middle when you start to pick it up on it. But it's like, I just think to myself, how many people went, yeah, let's make that. Let's keep going.
You legit just sped watched it?
Hate watched it. The whole thing. I just was like, I can't.
You were just like fast forwarding through it?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't miss anything.
No, you're pot committed. You have
Ridiculous.
to finish it.
Good poker reference.
Completely insane.
Gorman in the morning. Coming right back. 92 KQRS. Streaming from 92KQRS.com. Gorman in the morning is back. 92 KQRS.
Double or nothing. I'll explain it very quickly.
Okay.
We send Ryder against her will into a bar.
Oh, boy, that's
Twist
tough.
my arm.
And she asks bar patrons, barflies I like to call them, 5 questions.
Okay.
And then we take the audio of their answers and we compare it to a person on the phone, a listener right now. Ask the same 5 questions. If they match 2 of the 5, they win tickets.
Double or nothing.
Double or nothing,
Love
baby.
this.
Let's get to it. First up, Deb from Inver Grove Heights. Deb, good morning.
Good morning.
Deb, are you ready to play a little double or nothing?
I am ready.
Let's go.
All right, I'm going to ask you 5 questions. Give us your answers, and we'll see how you do. Number 1, name a TV mom famous for having a lot of kids.
Carol Brady.
There you go. All right. Number 2, what's something most dog owners do with their pets that cat owners don't?
Walk them.
I got to feel good about this one. All right, number 3, name a weekend you don't want to go up north because it's going to be too crowded.
4th of July.
Man, bang. How about this? Finish this phrase. Rise and blank.
What is it again?
Rise, R-I-S-E. Rise and blank.
Shine.
There you go. Man, I feel pretty good about Deb's chances here.
You haven't met the barfly.
I was going to say, of course, I don't know what time of night you asked this barfly their questions. All right, last one, Deb. What's a popular month for a family vacation?
I'll say July.
All right.
Okay.
Very
here we
good.
go.
All right, here we go. Who are we talking to here,
So I
Ryder?
went to halftime rec last night and hung out with Liz, and I got to give a shout out to Liz and her husband Lyle. It's their 10th anniversary today.
Nice!
So congratulations
Liz and
to
Lyle.
them. Here are Liz's answers. Name a TV mom famous for having lots of kids.
Marge Simpson.
What's something most dog owners do that cat owners don't?
Have a funny voice with them.
Whoa.
Or kiss their face, I guess. That's what they all do. I don't know.
Name a weekend you don't want to go up north because it's too crowded.
Memorial Day.
Finish this phrase, rise and
Shine.
What's
There
a
you go.
popular month for a family vacation?
July.
Right under the wire there.
Yes, Deb.
Man, Liz was making us work for that one.
Sweating it out is what it was. That was a sweat right there.
Deb, you did it. You matched 2 for 5. You are not going home with nothing. You doubled up. So the question is, let me ask you, do you want Sex Pistols tickets or do you want Wallflowers ZZ Top tickets?
Wallflowers ZZ Top.
Right on.
Nice
All right,
work,
Deb. Well done.
Hang tight.
Sit
I'm
tight.
70 years old.
All right.
Okay.
Congratulations. That's fantastic.
Hang on, Deb.
All right, hang on,
Enjoy the
Deb.
rock.
You guys want to go for one more?
Let's go for one
Oh,
more.
yeah, this is
Okay.
awesome.
As long as we're here. We got Dave from Hastings on the horn. Dave, good morning.
Morning.
You know what we're doing here, right? You understand the concept of double or nothing?
Yes.
All right, sir, let's get right to it. Here are your 5 questions. Number 1, the new Pope is from Chicago. Name the Chicago sports team that most needs his prayers.
Oof, the Bulls.
The Bulls. Number 2, what's a common color for a Jell-O shot?
Red.
Red. Number 3, name a type of fish often used to make a sandwich.
Cod.
Number 4, what is something moms want for Mother's Day that is free?
Flowers.
If you know where to pick them. Number 5, who's the cooler Jack? Jack White or Jack Daniels?
Could you repeat the question?
Which of these 2 Jacks is cooler? Jack White or Jack Daniels?
Jack Daniels.
There you go. All right. Hang tight, Dave.
That's
Who
plain
is
and smart.
Barfly number 2,
We
Ryder?
were talking to Liz's husband, Lyle. So
Lyle.
again, happy 10th to them. Here are Lyle's answers. Okay, the new pope is from Chicago. Name a Chicago sports team that needs his prayers.
Blackhawks.
What's a common color for a Jell-O shot?
Purple?
Name a kind of fish often used in sandwiches.
Tuna.
What's something moms want for Mother's Day that's free?
Brunch?
Brunch is not free, dude.
I'll pay for it.
Cooler Jack, White or Daniels?
Daniels.
Got the one for pride.
Yeah, 1 out of 5, Dave. I'm sorry, that's not enough for the tickets. That's not a double, that's a nothing. But thank you for the call, brother. We appreciate it.
Gorman in the morning is also Gorman on the go. Get the 92 KQRS app and stream live or catch the Gorman in the morning podcast anytime. 92 KQRS.